Welcome to the Aviation Insurance Podcast, the podcast that helps aircraft owners and aviation businesses learn and understand the complex world of aviation insurance and risk management. From the basic principles of aviation insurance to risk management techniques and updates on the aviation insurance market, the Aviation Insurance Podcast is your guide to traverse the world of aviation insurance. Now, here's your host, Tim Bonnell.
Well, welcome to the Aviation Insurance Podcast. I'm really excited about today's episode. I got some very special guests to talk about something that I've been involved with and a part of my life and my family for many, many years, and that's the Aviation Insurance Association. So today I'm very pleased to have Mary Gratzer, the Executive Director of the Aviation Insurance Association, which we'll refer to as the AIA for the rest of this discussion, as it's a lot to spit out. And we also have a friend of mine, Luke Uithoven, who is the on the board of directors for the AIA as the secretary, and he's been on there in various capacities for quite a few years now, and is also an agent with Kimmel Aviation Insurance Agency based in Greenwood, Mississippi. So Mary and Luke, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Yeah, well, not everyone knows what the AIA is, and before we, get into the specifics, what is the Aviation Insurance Association? So who's involved? Who does it serve? Just tell us a little bit more about it.
So the Aviation Insurance Association started in the 1970s with a handful of underwriters that were at different insurance companies getting together to foster a little camaraderie. Now it is over 700 members throughout North America and Europe, with a handful in South America and Asia. And it is a trade association for the aviation insurance industry. And it has grown so much that we have 4 actual different divisions of the agents and brokers, the underwriters, claims, and attorneys, all in aviation insurance, with reinsurance and international representation on the board of directors as well.
Yeah, so it's really, in my time, my father was a past president. You've had 2 people in your agency, Dorothy and Frank, serve as president. So a long tradition of our agencies being involved in the AIA, and it's kind of been that place to come and connect with all the professionals from where brokers and underwriters can connect. Underwriters, even at the highest levels of their organizations. And they're connecting with reinsurers, claims people are connecting, lawyers are connecting. We're all connecting together, in addition to, a lot of education, which I know we'll talk about there. And I know that's a core mission for the AIA, and maybe gets into, kind of my next question is, why is it important if I'm in the aviation insurance business, or let's just say I'm a risk manager or something, why is it important to be involved with the AIA?
Yeah, like you just spoke about, Tim, is the AIA facilitates networking between multiple levels of the aviation insurance industry. So whether you're an agent and broker and you're dealing with your day-to-day with an underwriter, you also get to connect with the reinsurance side, who helps facilitate the rates and the requirements for the policies that you're selling as the agent and broker. So it creates a multi-level relationship there, where you understand where the underwriter is coming from when you're trying to sell their policy. You're also connecting with claims adjusters, so that when your insured has a problem, you're able to help facilitate where the claims adjuster and the insurance company is coming from in the best way. So for the association, we focus on networking, and we also have a tremendous focus on education. So whether that's articles, whether that's webinars, whether it's CIE, CLE throughout the main conference, and the rest of the year through the quarterly publication of the binder and hot topics. Our education is a main focus, because our industry does not have any other streamlined education specifically for aviation insurance.
And that's what we've heard is, you can get insurance education. You can find that online, general insurance, but we want people to think if it's aviation insurance, you have to come to AIA. And Tim, as the chair of the education committee, of what I speak, is we want to be that place that either it's an event, webinar, binder, whatever, we want to be the place that you come when you are looking for aviation insurance knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, and yes, that I am the education committee chair. And so there are obviously a lot of activities, and that's a big committee as a result. And, specifically we have a course that was developed in the last couple of years just on introduction to aviation insurance, designed for people, kind of in the first 6 months to a year in the industry and beyond. I think, Mary, some of the feedback has been that, people that have been a couple of years had never heard some of the basic concepts for that course. And then the course that I'm very involved with as one of the instructors, the Core Principles of Aviation Insurance, is a very good deep dive overview of most of the areas in aviation insurance. And so that continues to be popular and important. It also is a requirement for the designation we have of the Certified Aviation Insurance Professional. Again, Luke just mentioned we have continuing insurance education courses that we may ask Mary about here in a minute at the conference, continuing legal education courses and all that. And of course, the nice thing is you get to network when you're learning too. So kind of just as you said, tying the two things that Luke just mentioned together. So thinking outside of the aviation insurance specific industry, how would you say that the AIA serves the aviation industry in general?
I would say that it what I mentioned earlier is it gives the one place in our industry for direction, for education, as a hub for all things aviation insurance. This business is so proprietary. You have underwriters that don't, one insurance company is so protective of what they're doing. There's no transparency anywhere, which is fine. But this association gives the one spot for fostering new ideas, for creating education, and it is the one place in our country or really in the world for this association is the one place that allows all of our different segments of the industry to come together as a group and to help our industry grow, and out of your day-to-day setting where you're battling each other for business, for more policies, for things like that. This is the one spot you can come together and really facilitate knowledge and growth in our industry because we are such a small segment of insurance compared to all of the rest of property and casualty, life and health type scenario.
Yeah, I think that's good. And, I just think about one of the other committees, the safety committee, and combining that with the education initiatives. I think that, it brings together the goal that we all have as an aviation industry is safe operations, no accidents, nothing getting bent, people not getting hurt. And that's something I think that obviously the insurance industry is it's an important thing they can play. And as we talk about here soon, I'd like to talk about some of the CIE sessions. I think there's some discussions, going on during those things that help the industry as a whole in terms of here's how we can help, improve safety and initiatives like that. But I think I wanted to point out a very important fact that, the one thing that's not shared is rates. The Aviation Insurance Association as a whole and all of its dealings, and especially in educational sessions or conferences or meetings, they operate on the antitrust, anti-monopolistic type of rules. So no collusion of rates and things like that. But the sharing, to your point, Luke, of, how can we operate, help our insureds operate safer? What's different perspectives to look at, and how can we work together to reduce claims, and save people's lives at the end of the day? And it's something we don't always think about from a big picture perspective when we're looking at how to learn about specific issues that we deal with day to day. But I think if we were to sit here and think about it, Luke, we'd probably be able to talk for a while about different ways that the insurance industry in a positive way affects the aviation industry. But I think you did a good job of summarizing it, as I did a good job of going on about it for a while. So let's move on to the conference. As we're recording this, we're nearing the 2024 Annual Aviation Insurance Association conference in New Orleans. So everyone's excited about that. It's a busy time, I'm sure, for Luke on the executive board, and then definitely for Mary and her team that it's
excited,
putting it together.
All of the above. Yeah.
Yeah. So who should attend this AIA conference?
Well, Luke did a great job covering all that in who are the members of the organization and who we serve. If you are involved in the aviation insurance industry, whether it be, like he said, the insurance companies, the underwriters, we also have vendors that come, the flight training schools, some companies that provide financial services to insurance companies, they come and exhibit. So we have people come from all over the world for meetings. A lot of business takes place at the AIA, like in these private company meetings. So really, if you're involved in the industry, if you want to be involved in the industry, maybe you want learn a little bit more about it. You're in insurance, but you don't know aviation insurance. You can come in and just sit in all of these sessions. And I mean, you'll get such a great overview. Those are the people that need to come. It's also a lot of fun.
I was trying to think of some of the, well, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I was trying to think of some of the folks that have showed up that aren't everyday aviation insurance professionals. I mentioned risk managers earlier. We've seen a few of those in some of our educational offerings and at the conference. We've seen people from some of the FAA, government insurance-backed programs. Anyone else you guys can think of that, typically, isn't a mainstream aviation insurance professional?
We sometimes have students coming through aviation business programs. Maybe they had a career fair type scenario where they met an insurance company representative and were able to come to a regional event that we've had or the annual trade show. And as they come, they are also learning about our industry as a whole, because I'm a product of a risk management insurance major in college that never had one question about aviation insurance on a single test or in a textbook in my entire college career. So it is such a niche market that is not on the forefront of any type of insurance a scholastic program. So we do see some student representation there as well.
And also, you mentioned the FAA. I think about 6 or 7 attendees come from the FAA every year. When one of them is speaking, we have a speaker from the FAA, NADA, NBAA, OFA. So a lot of kind of affiliated organizations come as well. ABC. So it's if you're connected in some way, they want to come and participate, learn, and network also.
Yeah, and my next question probably we've been answering all along, but it begs the question to be asked. Why should people attend the AIA annual conference?
Everything we just said, the education, the networking. If you think, like say you're a veteran in the industry, I guarantee you're going to learn something new. You're going to meet someone new, maybe someone from a company that you wanted to meet and never had the opportunity. And it's important to have those relationships. We all do Zooms and phone calls and things like that, but just being able to have those personal connections is so important. And I have heard from so many people that if they're going to go to one industry event, it has to be the AIA, which we like hearing. But that's true. I hear that quite a bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been an annual tradition for many of us, and one of the other things that I know, Luke, your CEO Frank would say, just it's as an agent and broker, it's like one of the best and only chances to connect with some of the top brass, so to speak, from some of the insurance companies, and that interaction would apply to each different sector of the market. For claims people and legal, it's best one opportunity they can connect, and so on and so forth. And that's one unique opportunity that's really hard to replicate anywhere else, is just to connect with and talk to and learn from some of the top people in the industry, regardless of what level you're at, whether you're brand new to the industry, whether you've been here a long time, whether you're small, your company's small, whether your company's big. That's just something that can't be facilitated or dressed anywhere else. And so I think that's another just really unique reason and special reason why people should attend. And I know that I'm much further along in the industry because of my involvement with the AIA and the education that I've been able to participate in over the years. You think back, I say years because I used to be the youngest person there, and now I've gone past that into the latter half. I'm definitely not the oldest person there, but I'm definitely not in the young professionals group by a wide margin at this point. So that and said, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of education, there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of business meetings. It's a busy time. However, I know that there are some fun activities involved. Can you, Mary, talk first about some of those fun activities and special things that are going to be happening in New Orleans?
Absolutely. Well, just kind of, it's a great segue is you mentioned the agents, brokers, whatever, being able to meet the insurance companies that you just specifically described queuing up at AIA, which is, it's kind of an odd name, but it's basically speed networking. And the first time I experienced it, it's controlled chaos is the best way to describe it. The insurance companies or the underwriters we set tables all around the room. The agents and brokers come swarming in and have so much time to go around and talk to everybody in the room. And it is a blast. We actually moved it up in the schedule because it was so popular. It was on the last day. And we listened to what people told us. They said it needs to be earlier because that's the most valuable networking. Let's have it earlier in the conference. So that's Saturday at the conference.
Well, on that, I think people wanted to be able to, hey, I want to meet people now so that I can talk to them throughout the rest of the convention.
You know who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, the queuing up, Mary, I think it refers to kind of the old days in London, in the London market where underwriters would get in line to, take the accounts they needed to discuss with the underwriters for their stamping and approval. And so it comes back from our old London roots in aviation insurance. So for those who didn't know, that was kind of that's why it's got that interesting name, queuing up. It goes back to our roots. But anyway, that's a really neat event. It is very well attended, and it is a great way to have one-on-one conversations with carriers and agents from each company, depending on who you're coming from. But yeah, thanks for being honest. Yeah,
well,
what else?
That's Saturday. And then the welcome reception, I don't know if you mentioned this or if it's, in your promotions for this, but the AIA conference falls over the final weekend of Jazz Fest. So there is a lot going on, meaning an extra 400,000 people in New Orleans when we're there. I like to think they're coming to see us, but they're probably going to see the Stones. But our welcome reception, which is usually on property, it just doesn't work out for this, for the New Orleans Marriott. So we're taking it right across the street to the Sazerac House. And they say the Sazerac was like the first cocktail or the inventor of the cocktail. But it's 4 floors of like tastings and museum, and there's, interaction. And we've just found there's going to be a Chris Stapleton, I think a bourbon or something is going to be released that night or around that time. So there's going to be a tasting of Chris Stapleton's bourbon in the welcome reception. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's very different for us, but a chance for everyone to reconnect. We always have golf and sporting clays, and we're doing those again this year. We found out the sporting clays venue is very rustic. And when we toured it, the owner told us that basically every body of water has a gator in it. So there's probably going to be a new kind of disclaimer that everyone has to sign on the bus or a waiver. And then the closing party on Monday night, which is hosted by BS and Beagles, they do a great job for us.
Which is always a big deal.
Oh my gosh, it's
amazing.
at Mardi Gras World, and if you have to Google it and look it up, but it really is 2 unique experiences or venues in one. You tour the float den where you see the floats and all the characters, and then you walk into what looks like the grounds of a Southern mansion, but you're inside. So it's hard to describe, but it's beautiful, and it's close to the hotel. So I don't want people to feel like they're going to be trapped. It's maybe 15 minutes on a shuttle or a bus, and we take care of all the transportation. So, but it's authentic New Orleans.
Yeah, it sounds exciting, and obviously you're in the heart of New Orleans, so there's all those things to do before and after, so I'm sure most people are familiar with that. They can look it up if not, and so there could be somebody's boss listening to this podcast, and just before they think, well, I'm not going to send my people there with all this fun things going on. There's a lot of great education sessions, general sessions. Mary, do you want to highlight just any of the key things that attendees might learn this
absolutely.
year?
Well, we start off on Friday, May 3rd, with the continuing legal education, and there are 4 hours. We file for the credits, so the attorneys can get credits for that. And the topics this year are a couple of them: mock juries, runway incursions, which we've seen in the news, unfortunately, and law practice management, something they've been asking about for a while. It's like succession planning and trends and human resources. That's CLE on Friday. On Sunday, which you know about, Tim, that's the continuing insurance education. That's 8 hours. And Tim's doing a couple sessions for us. You can mention those, but we partner a lot with the safety committee because that's so important to us. So they've got almost 2 hours of programming. It's FBO risks and coverages, grounds claims, advanced air mobility, data-driven risk modeling. So it sounds very advanced.
Yeah, that's the one I'm excited about, because it goes to Luke's point earlier. Is it's one area where we're looking at. The transportation, the aviation industry is continually innovating and changing, and the eVTOL and the advanced air mobility movement is coming upon us, and there's different underwriting techniques and things coming to the market, and it's not something that people are going to be able to learn about too many places. And so we've got that. And, the sessions I'm working on is really a deep dive into commercial general liability insurance, which is a complex subject in addition to contractual liability. So if you're not into insurance, your eyes are glossing over when I mention that. But if you do any type of commercial aviation insurance, it's an important and big topic. But there's many others. I'm very excited pretty much about pretty much every one of those. But you got really like in-depth current issues, but looking forward to innovative ways to address insurance going into the future. So I think it's really going to be extremely interesting to everyone involved, and it'd be something that people don't want to miss.
For sure.
Was there any others that I spoke over there?
Well, actually, we've got one called Why London, and it's couple gentlemen from Price Forbes talking about the history of why Lloyd's and the reinsurance market is what it is and where it is, and how it connects even today to what's going on in the industry. So that's just something really, really unique and different for us. The general session, which is on Monday, and that's when we do some AIA business. We have 8 new CAIPs coming in, certified aviation insurance professionals coming in. Yeah. Gary Churchill from Old Republic is going to kick things off for us. Then we have someone from the FAA, the safety division, and our luncheon topic is Top Gun Maverick. And I'll let Luke talk about that one.
Sure. So we're very excited. Us at Kimmel Aviation Insurance and Great American have co-sponsored the luncheon panel with the AIA this year. And we're going to bring a panel of 3 pilots and a moderator that are going from the Top Gun Maverick movie. One is Kevin LaRosa, and Kevin LaRosa was one of the pilots doing most of the camera work flying in the movie Top Gun Maverick. And then 2 retired Blue Angel pilots, one who was flying Tom Cruise and some of the other actors in the actual flying footage in Top Gun Maverick. And then the second Blue Angel retired guy was handling all the ground coordination and set up for the flying shot. So we're very excited about this panel. They have been around the world as a panel doing these talks. They have incredible footage, and they're going to talk about the experiences of actually doing the flying, what was all involved, and the risk mitigation there, along with funny stories of experiences with the actors and actresses who were participating in the flying that obviously these pilots were trained for, and that the Hollywood stars may not have. So we're very excited to help facilitate that. And we think it's going to be another great luncheon.
Yeah, and that luncheon is always interesting because it's super entertaining. I mean, last year was incredible, and you learn something, you laugh, whatever. But then it always comes back to how aviation safety, risk management type of principles, as you just mentioned, Luke. So it's again, that's one you just don't want to miss. And so thank you guys for your efforts in putting that together. Well, we've talked about a lot, I think to summarize what I heard and what I've experienced is, education, networking, and fun and that applies to being a member of the AIA and obviously to attending the conference. And, it's just important to me that, as we bring forward to this podcast, different organizations and associations that I really needed to bring forward the Aviation Insurance Association because it's not out there in front of everybody as much as an AOPA, NBAA, and so on and so forth, and let people learn about it both inside the aviation insurance industry and those who are aviation operations and operators. So that's really all the questions I had. That in mind, is there anything we didn't cover that you'd want to share or just any closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts would be that there is still time to attend. We've always got room. The hotel can be a little bit challenged, like I mentioned, Jazz Fest, but there are so many properties within walking distance. Everything's so close in New Orleans. It's a little bit like Nashville, where we were a couple of years ago. If you want to come for a day, come for a single event, just to check it out, we can actually make that happen. So check out the website, AIAweb.org. The schedule's on there. The updated hotel information is on there. And then just reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, and Tim, I want to thank you personally for allowing us this platform and the time to talk about the AIA. It has meant so much to my life and my career. I know it has you as well. We're very thankful to have Mary join the team the last couple of years, and we love it so much here in our personal office, but I also see people starting their careers in aviation insurance, and as soon as they get involved in the AIA, their careers have skyrocketed, and it's just I can't say enough good things about it. It has meant the world to me in my career, and we thank you for the time to be able to talk.
It was my pleasure, and I thank you for your time, and it's been fun to see. Definitely appreciate, your agency's involvement and support. It's been big, and obviously my involvement goes back with Frank, the CEO there of your agency, and so we've gotten to serve on the board together, and you guys are supporters of all the committees, the education committee, and so we appreciate that. We're thankful for Mary and her team and all they do. It's a stressful time for them. So I know her carving out this time is a busy deal. So check out the website if you want to learn more information. If you're in the aviation insurance industry or related, you don't want to miss out on A, being a member of the organization, and B, attending this conference. It is going to be unbelievable. Well, that's all for this episode. Join us again next time as we continue navigating the waypoints in aviation insurance.
Thanks for listening to the Aviation Insurance Podcast. If you found this episode of value, please share it with someone who would benefit from this information. Don't forget to subscribe in your podcast player so you don't miss any new episodes, and to help our show have more impact. This episode is brought to you by AIA Insurance Solutions, your flight plan for navigating the turbulence of aviation insurance. For more information, visit arisinsurance.com. That is www.aerisinsurance.com. Disclaimer: these episodes are for educational purposes only, and due to the changing regulatory and legal nature of the business, some information may change over time. Having a well-educated and experienced aviation insurance broker on your team is an absolute requirement to success in business and for managing your aircraft and aviation business risks.